After listening to Steve Kerr following the Raptors game, how much longer do you think he wants to do this thing?
I know it's a long season, but falling below 500 for the first time this year.
It sucks. I don't like falling below 500, but here we are, so we got to do better. Thanks.
Steve Kerr was not happy. His entire comments, the future of the head coach, and also what are the Golden State Warriors going to do as the deadline is coming up weeks from today on today's show.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
There's not many defenses in the world that can stop him.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
How we doing? Happy Tuesday/Wednesday to you all whenever this audio podcast reaches you. Hope your day is going great. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. The ways you could check out this show: YouTube, we stream live after the games. You can also check us out wherever you get your favorite audio podcast platform. We are always free and available for you. My name's Charlie Walter. I am formerly at 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. I cover the team for the flagship station, also their championship run in 21-22 for CBS News Bay Area. On today's show, Steve Kerr takes the blame. There's a large portion of Warriors fans out there that can cue up the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme like, wait, Steve said that? We've been saying that this whole time. Hear from Coach Kerr. Also, no mortgaging of the future. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr all share their plans. And it's as simple as if the right move is not there, the Warriors aren't going to make a move. Patience may indeed be a virtue. Buddy Hield minutes. The Warriors fans right now have seen enough of Buddy Hield, at least a lot of them. There are some out there that believe in his shooting, his scoring ability. They say, who else are you going to go with off the bench, Chuck? The others say anyone would be a much better option than Buddy Hield with the way he's playing right now. We're debating that. Plus, we're taking a look around the NBA. The Warriors now out of the play-in if the season were to end today. This is not good. This is not good at all. Let's start off with Steve Kerr. Following the game, he was upset. The Warriors had the lead in the fourth quarter. We've seen that many times this year. It was their 24th clutch game of the season. That is the most in the NBA. And they faltered down the stretch as Chris Boucher could not miss. The Warriors could not guard the perimeter. They couldn't guard the inside. They can't score the basketball. In short, the Warriors are not good right now. Not good whatsoever. They're 7-17 since November 23rd. That's worse than the Portland Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz, and the tanking Brooklyn Nets. Now, granted, the Warriors aren't healthy. They are not as bad as they played against the Raptors and have played the last few games without Jonathan Kuminga. But the question becomes, like, is this a team that if they keep losing could sneak into the lottery? We're going to take a look at the standings and kind of see if there's a path into that. There very much is, to say the least. But Steve Kerr, following the game, here were his comments. He was not happy at all.
Didn't get good looks, didn't execute very well, weren't disciplined enough, and that's my fault. I'm the coach of the team. I have to find a way to help this team, and I'm not doing a good job of that. We're down the stretch, we're not executing, and but that's happening throughout the game at both ends. Missed rotations, missed coverages on defense, and then poor possessions offensively. It's on me.
You've had some frustrating nights recently.
This is as frustrating a night as we've had all season for me. This game was right there for us to win, and we let them get right back in it. Again, it's lack of discipline in our coverages defensively, in our offensive execution, and I'm the coach, so it's my fault.
It's not good. And when you hear those quotes from Steve Kerr, it almost seems like this could be the end. Not that the Warriors would depart with Steve Kerr, but maybe with a year on his contract, he would say goodbye to basketball. And I don't know if he would go to another team. I really think that you win as many games as Steve Kerr won. I mean, I'm looking up the record right now. So let's pick it up at 14-15. They lost 15 games in 14-15. They lost 9 games in 15-16. They lost 15 games in 16-17. They've lost 24 and 25, and they won a championship in 21-22, losing 29. We haven't even hit the All-Star break. Quite frankly, not even close to the All-Star break, not even close to the deadline, and this team's already lost 20 games. It's human nature, right? When you have a job in life or a career or just any endeavor that you're doing, when it's going well, it's going well. But things change. And human nature is when things change for the worse and things suck, you may just want to leave. Steve Kerr doesn't have a ton to accomplish here if the Warriors are not making the playoffs. There's not a ton he can do. He's already said that his plan is to leave the franchise better than he found it. Well, technically right now it's not necessarily better than he personally found it, but he won 4 championships. At the end of the day, Steve Kerr has done his job and then some. But there are plenty of people out there that say, fresh set of eyes, a new set of ears, a new philosophy. It could usher in this new era, this new timeline of Golden State Warriors basketball, and Steph Curry is probably going to be a part of it. Maybe Draymond Green is a part of it. But the 3 riding off into the sunset together, it's starting to seem less and less likely if this play continues, because quite frankly, why would he want to continue? Why after this season would he not say, I'm good. I just took gold in the Olympics. I missed out on the playoffs 2 straight seasons. If the Warriors were to miss out on the playoffs this year, I don't see anything changing anytime soon. I'm good. I'm going to give in to some of those fans that have said it is all my fault, and I'm just going to hang up the whistle. Would it be the most shocking thing in the world to you? At this rate? I mean, let's hear it again.
I know it's a long season, but falling below 500 for the first time
Sucks.
this year.
It sucks. I don't like falling below 500, but here we are, so we got to do better. Thanks.
It sucks. You heard it from the man himself. It sucks. This was a team that he was very high on at the beginning of the year. All the buzzwords were there that he was really enjoying coaching this group, and something seemed to have changed because the Warriors have not had many good moments, and it's gone down in disastrous ways. Just we'll pull 5 out of a hat here randomly. Let's go back to a game against Houston where the whole timeout situation happens. Timeout, no timeout. Steph Curry shoots the 3 a little too early. They blow that game down the stretch. That one was extremely frustrating for him. Christmas had to be frustrating. You get an epic performance from Steph Curry. You give up a layup with seconds to go. There were back-to-back games, I think against the Nets and against the Spurs, where you give up late leads in the fourth quarter, 17-point leads in some of these games. The games that you are down big lately, you haven't really been making a fight. He's even admitted to that's not the way the Warriors are meant to play when they're down. Yet when they're up, they continuously blow some of these games. Like, it just does not seem enjoyable. Even from a fan's perspective watching this team, it is not enjoyable. So why would he want to continue? Why would he want to continue if not a lot of moves are in the making? And it doesn't seem to be that a lot of moves are in the making. Wait until you hear what Steph Curry said about mortgaging the future. Steve Kerr and Draymond Green agree with him. That's coming up on Locked On Warriors.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, WayFair has everything you need, all within your budget. Currently looking for furniture, and they have a huge selection of just about anything you need, free and hassle delivery, even for the larger items. WayFair's site is easy to navigate. I found everything I needed and threw it in my shopping cart in no time. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. WayFair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals. Give your home the refresh it needs with WayFair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That is WAYFAIR.com. WayFair. Every style, every home.
I don't give a damn about no damn Drake night.
So what is the future going to look like for the Golden State Warriors? Not just the rest of this season, not just the rest of Steve Kerr's tenure, which is supposed to be through next season, not just the rest of this core, which is Wiggins, it's Draymond, it's Steph Curry, Buddy Hield somehow added to the mix too, where they have them for the next 3 seasons through 26, 27. But what's the future look like after that? It's been brought up lately. Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, they're taking a little bit different of an approach. And the thing is, they would benefit the most, those three, from the front office and ownership mortgaging some of their future. And I'm talking, 28 first-round picks, 20, 30 draft picks, stuff like that. They would benefit more than anyone to maximize the present. If Steve Kerr believes he still has the chops, if Draymond and Steph still believe that they're a tandem, that if you add some talent around them, could win an NBA championship, then they are the ones that are going to benefit from all this. But all three have now gone on the record cautioning against that approach. Steve Kerr said, it's the hardest part in addressing all this stuff. We're not giving in, but you have to be realistic organizationally about where you are. I probably won't be around, but I will tell you, if this organization gave away the next 6 or 7 drafts for a wild swing, that would be the most irresponsible thing that they could do. Don't do anything crazy. Let's maintain the integrity of the operation. I think everybody is on board with that and aligned with that. We all want the organization to do as well as possible going forward. We all agree it would be really irresponsible to jeopardize the future, to take a wild stab at something. So the question I ask is, why does it have to be a wild stab? Why can't it be incremental moves to get better, or even moves to just free up payroll heading into next season? I mean, I get that Andrew Wiggins isn't necessarily a problem. Draymond Green's not necessarily a problem, but things need to change, right? In order for things to change, they're going to have to make tough decisions. They're going to have to start pulling the plugs on things that they love. NBA champions. It feels like a coach, a cast of stars, and a front office that is starting to realize that maybe they're not as close as they once thought. And there's not that magic move that's going to get it done. Because you remember heading into the season, the talk was that we believe this team can be competitive. And of course, every owner is going to say that. But we believe we have the right stuff. We're going to continue to maximize Steph Curry. It would be malpractice to not give him everything he needs. And you bet your ass every day we're looking for that one seismic move that's going to take us over the top. Paul George, Lowry Markkanen, no bueno. The moves that popped up weren't really explored based on everything that we heard. It was kind of, no, that may hurt us down the road. And here's the thing about mortgaging a future, taking that big swing. Like, in order to make it to the top, a lot of times you have to be bold. Now, there's a difference between being stupid and being bold, but for the Warriors to maximize the remainder of this Curry contract and to go into 2027 in a good spot, they're going to have to do something bold. They're going to have to make some moves that are outside the box, and those moves are going to have to pay off. It's as simple as that, because if they stay stagnant and do nothing, riding off into the sunset with Steve Kerr, with Steph Curry, with Draymond Green, and then Andrew Wiggins on that deal too, and just trying to cobble pieces around him isn't the move. And I think everyone knows that. The move at this point is to do something. The issue is that something is probably not going to involve the big stab like we thought they were going to do at least this season. Here's Steph Curry on it.
Desperate trades or desperate, moves that deplete the future. Like, there is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave this thing when we're done. We want to continue to get better. Nobody wants to be stale or be in a situation where you're passing up opportunities, but it doesn't mean that you're desperate, just flinging assets all around the place just because you want to do something.
It is really interesting stuff, because Curry is now saying that the Warriors shouldn't go all in. Is he waving the white flag? No, he's not going that far. But he's basically saying to the front office, hey, if you guys don't have a move that we feel very confident about, then don't make that move. I still have some time here. This doesn't need to be figured out tomorrow. I know that the fans are getting a little restless. They've seen a lot of championship basketball over the years, and now they're watching some boring basketball. But we can be patient, still figure out this thing, be in contention moving forward, and leave this thing in a very good spot when I leave. Now, Brian Windhorst on First Take on ESPN said that he now wonders if there's going to be a different type of trade, not the trade to bring in a Jimmy Butler or a Cam Johnson or something like that. He's thinking that a trade could be to potentially dump money, to pick up assets, to get some draft picks, to rebuild a different way. But until we see it, it's just the same thing over and over. It's lip service. We've now seen this for a couple of years where the Warriors have they done something? Absolutely. They added in pieces all around in the offseason. DeAnthony Melton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson. That's bringing in 3 different bodies than you had a season ago. But in terms of that needle mover, they haven't brought in that needle mover in quite some time. And Chris Paul, I don't know if that was supposed to be a needle mover or just a salary dump. But at the end of the day, it did not move the needle. He didn't make a whole ton of sense. But at the same time, Steph Curry's not wrong in saying what he's saying. Like, you can use an example from this offseason. What if they had gotten Paul George? You've seen how Paul George is playing this year. He's in his late 30s. Steph's just trying to be realistic. If this team would have gotten Paul George, it would have looked a lot worse if they were this bad because they gave up that much capital and assets in the future to be terrible. And then it really hits the fan. It really hits the fan. Stephen A had a different take on it. Stephen A, of course, came in hot on ESPN and said, you got to do everything to maximize number 30. And I mean, he's not wrong either, because the Warriors are wasting time, and time is the most valuable asset. And Steph Curry is irreplaceable, but he is 36, and that perspective does matter. It's funny, though, that the Warriors organization and their stars were all on the same page of a trade. That was what we talked about the entire offseason, the big fish. And now it seems like, at least for this year, they're waving the white flag. This almost feels like they're giving us forewarning. Hey, Vucevic may be the best thing that we be doing. Some marginal moves to see if we can at least spark a fire under this team that we believed in to start this season. But at the same time, first-round picks, if this thing falls apart, those first-round picks are going to be very valuable moving forward. But you can, like I said, you could shed payroll for an expiring contract, have some money for a free agent next year, but that would require trading Wiggins or Draymond, and it does not appear that this organization is even exploring that right now. Let's continue the conversation moving forward. Buddy Hield, the struggles that he's had, Steve Kerr's decision to stay with him. Why? Coming up.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, I've had this ongoing problem. I just don't have the time. Between work, life, trying to eat healthier, and all the cleaning of the dishes, constantly was feeling stressed out. I'd go to the grocery store, I'd buy things that I didn't need or that I needed. They'd sit in the back of the fridge, they'd expire, and then I'd have no time to actually cook, sticking to my health goals, a struggle, and wasting money. But everything changed when I discovered Hungryroot. Honestly, it's been a game changer. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. With Hungryroot, it's like having a personal shopper and nutritionist all in one. They take care of my grocery shopping. They recommend meals and groceries based on my tastes and my health goals. I want some protein. I want some anti-inflammatory, and make sure that it has as much gluten as possible. No, I'm kidding. Kylan's gluten-free, so we got to go gluten-free. And the best part, every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. I'm talking quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to your door. You're going to love Hungryroot. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice in every box for life. Hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA. Do not miss out. Let's also tell you about the Game Time app, our title sponsor. Live sporting events. The Game Time app is what you need to download. Skip the box office. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, because Game Time picks will feature out the fluff. It'll filter out the fluff. It'll feature great deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through garbage. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Back to the show.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully, we'll never find out.
Couple things I want to round out the show with. Let's start with Buddy Hield, because it's an interesting dynamic right now. Let's start with the fact that Buddy Hield is making less than Moses Moody, at least what Moses Moody signed for. Moody's making like $5 million right now, but come next year, Moody's going to make $13 million. That means in October, when they signed Moody, they believed that he had the value of $13 million. And when they signed Buddy Hield, whether they got a bargain or not, the contract came to him, let's put him this way, at about $9 million. So Buddy Hield not making a ton of money. He is locked in. Actually, really, he's got those options towards the end of his contract. He could be the last standing Golden State Warrior if those options were to continuously be exercised. But based on everything we've seen, like, the fit hasn't been impeccable. When he plays well, yes, it's been impeccable. Like, when the Warriors run Hield out there and he scores 20 points, they win. But it's few and far in between lately. I mean, in October, in the 5 games that he played, he averaged 21 points per game. He was shooting 49% from the floor, 50% from 3. That was peak Golden State Warriors this season. Also had a 103 defensive rating, which is really, really good. November, the defensive rating went a little bit up. The usage rating went a little bit down. The points per game went from 21 to 13. The shooting went from 44% to 41%, but was still having a good season through around Thanksgiving. Since then, it's been a disaster. In December, his defensive rating went up again. He averaged 8.5 points per game. His minutes finally started going down to 22 minutes per game, down from his 24 in October. The shooting was disastrous, 36% from the floor, 30% from deep. And what happens after that month where he really struggles, where Moses Moody misses some games with injury? What happens is January rolls around and he's getting the most minutes of the season. Buddy Hield went from 24 when he was playing really well to 26 right now. And the obvious explanation is Brandon Podziemski's out. DeAnthony Melton is out. Those are 2. Gary Payton is out. Those are guys that played his position. So obviously he's going to play more. And if someone's not making the plays over the course of a month and a half, at some point you sit him down and you try to find a better option, and you just accept the fact that they are not a part of a successful future, especially in Buddy Hield's case, when you've seen him go around to so many different teams and so many teams said, we're good here. Philly, Indy, Sacramento. And a lot of it is just because I think that they put him in too much of a role. Like 25 minutes just seems like a lot. Before the season, I said 15. I was chastised. I was embarrassed. I had some of the meanest things ever said to me in the comment section. And now everyone's saying, play him 15 minutes. So it's the unwavering trust from Steve Kerr that is a little strange right now. The shooting struggles, the defensive lapses, the turnovers, these sometimes porous shots that are quick triggers that go the other way and transition and turn into buckets. But Kerr stuck by his decision to be committed to Buddy. He says, yeah, he's had some good looks. And he's a great, great shooter. We know that. And I think he's pressing a little bit. I think all our guys are pressing a little bit because they know our margin for error is slim. But he gives us space. And even when he's not making shots, he gives us space. People respect him. They guard him. He opens up the floor. So I'm going to keep playing him. I'm going to keep trusting him. None of this makes sense. It doesn't make sense. You have Brandon Pajemski, and I'm just talking entire season because even when Pods was out there, Buddy was still getting a ton of minutes. But you have Pajemski is a untouchable before the season, shooting guard position. You have Moses Moody, who they could have just let walk after this season, let the contract expire. Instead, they signed him to a 3-year deal. And based on what he's doing right now, a pretty handsome deal. I mean, he's not worth the $13 million based off his production in the last month or so. And then they bring in Buddy Hield. They have him on a significant, not inexpensive, but a significant in terms of length contract. And they're playing him a ton. So why extend Moses Moody if Buddy Hield is your best option? I guess you didn't see that in the preseason. I don't know. But Kerr said he gives us space. Even when he's not making shots, he gives us space. People respect him. They guard him. He opens up the floor. So I'm going to keep playing him. I'm going to keep trusting him. And that may be the Achilles heel when it's all said and done for Steve Kerr. I'm going to trust my gut and go with what I believe is the right move. And right now, it has not been the right move. He has not been playing good basketball. Now, if you replace Buddy Hield with Moses Moody, you swap 33 minutes for 14 or whatever it's been the last few games. Does it really make that much of a difference? Probably not. Realistically, probably not. But at this point in the season, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? NBA standings. Where do the Warriors rank? Well, right now they are out of the play-in tournament. They're 19-20. The San Antonio Spurs and Sacramento Kings slide ahead of them. The Kings, who are red hot right now, they're 7-3 over their last 10 games. The Warriors, meanwhile, are 4-6. Warriors have not won 3 games since mid-November at this point and have won 2-game winning streak since. So it's been ugly. Steph Curry called them mid. They've been worse than mid the last couple months. They've been one of the worst teams in the league. I just mentioned they've been worse than Portland and Utah over this stretch. Now, I think it's safe to say that New Orleans, Washington, Charlotte, Toronto, probably Brooklyn, those teams are going to be below the Warriors, and those teams are going to be aiming to capture the flag this season. But the Warriors can still get a pretty good draft pick. Now, obviously, you don't want the Warriors to fall off a cliff. You want to watch competitive basketball. You're a fan. They are only, 2.5? Yeah, at this point, they're 2.5 games out of the 6th seed. So on paper, there's still a ton to play for. A lot of injured players are coming back. Maybe they can turn this thing around. But based off what we've seen the last couple of months, it looks ugly. We're starting to talk about a lottery team. 3 teams below them in the West. And it will just be one draft pick for the Golden State Warriors in 2025. They've given away the 2nd-round pick, so they will have their 1st-round pick, and it could be a good one. If the wheels fall off and it doesn't seem like they're being put back on anytime soon. Now, Kuminga's going to return. They have the 2nd easiest schedule in the NBA. This point can be moot. It can change quickly. But as of right now, I mean, the best way to rebuild this team is to strike some gold in a apparently loaded draft. And the best way to do that is to not be that good. So not all things are lost if the Warriors aren't great. They still have their 2026 1st and 2nd-round pick. They have their 2027 1st-round pick. They have their 2028 1st-round pick. They have their 2029 1st-round pick. And they have their 2030 2nd-round pick. So the Warriors do have some options there moving forward. And obviously, they can bundle those things together for some players moving forward. Curry's got years left in the tank. The issue is he's not getting any better. He's not getting any younger, right? You would have to imagine that he's on the back 9 of his career. And you know it, when you hit hole 16 and you see the snack bar ahead, you see the clubhouse, you're about 4 PBRs deep, the game gets a little shabby. Or for the superheroes out there, that's when they start nailing birdies left and right. They just become stronger as the day goes on and the sun beats brighter. You know, they've scooped out 15 balls at the Presidio and those sand traps, and they're ready to go, folks. They're ready to go. But it's kind of where the Warriors stand right now. solo show today. We'll have Kolsky back on for the Golden State Warriors next contest. Kylan Mills will also be joining us moving forward. And that next contest is on Wednesday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. Recap of that one. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Whenever and wherever you're listening, give the show a thumbs up on YouTube. Give it a 5-star rating if you are a fan on the audio podcast app of your choice. And again, sayonara.